not exactly the best pre-Christmas week for President Donald Trump. This week we'll be going over the Syria shenanigans, the shutdown, John Kasich being a spineless jellyfish, and more. My name is Micah Curtis.
I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as The Hatman.
Welcome to Micah and The Hatman on Politics Live. Alright. Now, Hatman and I are hoping and praying that the current encoding software that I'm using for this podcast is going to be okay. People are saying fix the mic. What's wrong with the mic?
You sound like a robot and it's very, very loud.
Let's try that. Apparently it switched my audio source. My bad.
Yeah,
guys, I see it.
Yep.
Anyway.
We got it.
So let's go ahead and get to it. So, recently, the let's just put it this way, because now I'm in a bad mood. So, this has obviously not been Donald Trump's week, because it doesn't seem like he can make many good decisions. And the things that have turned out going his direction have come across like complete total fucking luck.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the luck part in a minute, but right now, Donald Trump has managed to piss off a good chunk of his military side leadership in his administration by deciding that he is going to pull out completely from Syria and pull out of other areas as well. So, here's from the report that we've got here. Al-Tanf, a U.S. base near the Syrian border with Jordan, has been a bone of contention between the United States and Russia. Recently, a senior Russian official stated that the U.S. was holding with incomprehensible stubbornness the occupied 55-kilometer area around Al-Tanf, where 6,000 armed militants are on the loose and are preventing the disbanding of the Rukban refugee camp. Russian diplomatic spokesperson added that there is a growing concern related to the dubious activity of the U.S. and its allies in Syria. The illegal occupation of the 55-kilometer zone around the base in Al-Tanf continues to be a basic source of destabilization, blah, blah, blah. And then basically what we have found out is that they are going to be pulling out of that area to Vladimir Putin's glee.
Yeah, and to get this, Erdogan's suggestion, literally in a phone call with President Trump, said, you need to pull out of Syria. I don't know what you're still doing there. We can clean up ISIS. ISIS is at 1% of their occupied territory that they had before. We can clean them up, get out of there. And Trump pulled out, and now it's cost us Jim Mattis, probably the best person he had in his cabinet.
Yeah. Now, let's think about this for a second, because I know that we've got a lot of pro-Trump people. He took advice from a genocide-denying dictator on how to take care of terrorism.
He took advice from a genocide-denying dictator who has a vested interest in controlling Syria on this shit. Like, what in the fuck is this? Like, Trump said, I trust my generals. We believed he trusted his generals because they got shit done. And now this?
Yeah.
Against the advice of pretty much everyone? What the fuck is he thinking?
Is he thinking is my question.
Seriously, like I cannot for the life of me figure out why he would do something like this. And you and me both, we said the U.S. did not need to get involved in Syria.
Yes, we were both very against it.
Yeah, that it was a bullshit proxy war and we did not need to get involved. But now that we're involved, we can't just pull out like this, especially when Russia and Turkey are in there. No, we cannot afford to give that up at this point. against the advice of all of his military advisors. And now, not only has he lost Mattis, he's lost his anti-ISIS envoy, the architect of anti-ISIS coalition at the State Department.
And there's more resignations expected to happen within the next week.
Yeah, like, what in the hell?
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And here's the thing. It's not like you and I are some sort of hawkish neocons or something like that.
No, absolutely.
I imagine someone will accuse us of that. The problem that I have more so than anything is leaving our allies in the region basically defenseless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to name names because I'm more about attacking ideas. And there are people that I've seen on Twitter that I follow that I was following years ago, while Obama was president, who were flipping the fuck out when Christians in the region were being decapitated by ISIS. This decision affects them.
Mm-hmm.
All of those Christians in the region, it affects them. And the only option that they're probably going to have if we just leave this to Erdogan, who is no better, mind you, than ISIS is, he's going to have control of the region.
No.
And then
keep in mind, like, this, Erdogan is a megalomaniac, like absolute dictator, as in, like, very, very likely stage a coup so he could seize absolute power.
Yes. But how do I put this? This basically, like, what's the option of all of the Christians in the area that will be persecuted by the Turks? Go to Israel? That's really the only thing I could think of. That's a lot of people. And Israel's not going to be able to take in all those refugees.
No, certainly not.
I don't know what he's thinking. It's not the right time. And that's basically what everyone is saying. It's not saying, nobody's saying we should be there forever. And that's one that let's take the straw man. Let's throw the straw man in the garbage because the straw men are stupid. No one is saying that there should be troops there forever. I don't think anybody's saying that ever.
No. Like, this is different than what Trump has either proposed or is about to do, which is pull troops out of Afghanistan. We're okay with that because we should have been out of Afghanistan like years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. We do not want an endless war in Syria. But for God's sake, letting Russia and Turkey run rampant over that region is not a good idea at all. We cannot abandon our ally. We can't abandon the Kurds, for God's sake.
Yes, and that's my prime concern. They are the ones who get fucked over in this deal, is because Erdogan's not going to do anything for them. He hates them, like I mentioned earlier, and I don't want to talk in circles. You know, and the idea that Vladimir Putin would ever give a shit about them is fucking ridiculous too. So you have to keep in mind that Putin has constantly backed people who hate the Kurds.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe people are asking. I don't know. I'm actually not looking at the chat anytime we talk about war. So what does that leave us? I am of the opinion that basically we needed to just be there for our allies. That should be the only presence we should have in the Middle East. You know, because we're on good terms with the Saudis, we're on good terms with the Kuwaitis, we're on good terms with we're on amazing terms with the Israelis. So those are our three key alliances in the region. You know, the big problem children, you know, are obviously Iraq and Qatar and Turkey. And
Iran too, but Iran doesn't get involved in shit like this.
Sorry, I meant to say Iran, not Iraq, but because Iraq's not as much of a factor at this point.
Not really, no.
You know, it makes no sense to just leave our allies in the dust like that. It's not something that America does. You know, it's not part of our national character when it comes to our military.
Well, it sort of echoes Vietnam in a way. I mean, the fact that we just sort of pulled out of Vietnam and left the damn South Vietnamese to just roll over and die.
And then look what happened in Cambodia.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, let's be straight about that. Like our history here when it comes to that is that we fucked up when it came to Vietnam when pulling out, and then a lot of people in Cambodia died because of our inaction. Mm-hmm. And it is something that our nation has been constantly criticized of, and it's a fair criticism. Mm-hmm. You know, I talked to my dad about Vietnam once because my dad almost went. And he says that in some ways, you know, it was a blessing that he didn't go because he could have died. But at the same time, people in the military knew that if they pulled out completely, Cambodia goes up in flames. That's what happened. Whatever happens next in the region is on Donald Trump's head. In the same way that the fact that the Middle East has been on fire and the rise of ISIS is on Barack Obama's. And between this and the bump stock ban, which oddly enough is actually not something that I'm as mad about as I was a few days ago, because we're a firearms nonprofit is suing the government over it. My vote for Donald Trump is not as secure as it once was if I vote for him at all. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm pretty pissed off about this because it's just not, like I said, I don't want people there forever. I don't. But at the same time, I don't want our allies to be left high and dry and then there's a ton of innocent bloodshed, you know?
Yeah.
And the simple fact that someone as distinguished as Mattis resigned over it, I think says a lot to how bad of a move it is.
Yeah, the seriousness of it. And he straight up said, like, we need to be vigilant because
what, Hatman? You cut out there.
Country that we need to against those fucking nations. And yes, you know, we've talked about wanting alliances and stuff, but that doesn't mean that you always have to go along with them. And right now, Russia is, at least in Syria, yeah, they're trying to influence things, and we do not need that because they do not have Syria's best interests at heart.
Exactly. Thus proxy war. So, yeah, hopefully when it comes right down to it, I think hopefully that people will start to understand that it's, you know, nobody wants endless war. I don't, you know, that doesn't exist. You know, despite what Alex Jones might tell you, nobody really believes that. But there are people out there that do not want good things for other people. You know, America is, in a lot of ways, the only beacon of freedom in the world, but there are other nations out there that want to be that as well, and people groups that want that as well. And I still pray that we'll see it someday in the Middle East, but this is not helping.
No.
I'm not saying go out and spread democracy and hearts and minds and all that. I'm just saying take care of our allies. That's it. Okay. And I am still trying to get the hang of
this newfangled
OBS. Because I'm trying to switch some stuff on the stream and it's not showing me how to do it. Shit. So I got the mixer here. I should have tested this before I was thinking about it. Oh God.
We're a professional outfit here. Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, what the heck's going on with this damn thing? Sorry, folks, technical difficulties. Why can I not see my subjects? All I can see is my audio mixer. This is really odd.
I have no idea. Hardboiled Entertainment, yeah, there's a delay. Because you're getting a streaming delay, of course.
Oh, I saw what I did wrong. Okay. Yes, there is a delay. So, okay. So, second topic, let's talk shutdown.
Yeah, let's talk about that wall.
So, this is where Trump got lucky, in a sense. So, what happened with this week is it kind of came across in the news like Trump was flip-flopping on things, which, of course, does not make him look good.
No.
And then from there, what happens next is, out of the blue, the House manages to pass a funding for the government as a whole, and it included the $5 billion that Trump wanted for the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go. So, the Senate, of course, did not put it through. And they did not use the nuclear option for this one. And I'm not surprised that they didn't, because using the nuclear option over a budget kind of seems frivolous. And not to mention, they shouldn't lean on it either. If anything, they need to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about it over and over again, is that it needs to be disposed of. Because whenever Trump loses power, and he eventually will, possibly in after 2 more years, the Democrats are going to use it. And they use it to possibly wreck the country again.
Well, it's like they did under Harry Reid.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's the whole reason we got it in the first place.
Yeah.
Nuclear option, real quick. Usually, in order to pass a resolution or a bill in the Senate, you have to get 60 votes. Nuclear option is a simple majority.
Mm-hmm. So where are we left with this? Obviously, the government shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's all because of the wall funding, pretty much. Chuck Schumer has already said, we refuse to pass anything with border wall funding in it. And Trump's saying, I won't sign anything unless it's got border wall funding in it.
Yep.
So basically what we're down to is there needs to be a veto-proof block to pass a budget and overrule his veto, which is probably not going to fucking happen. Let's be real.
Yeah, there will have to be compromise here.
Yeah.
And this is going to show whether or not Trump is what he says he is when it comes to being a negotiator.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. They've tried this. They tried this in January. And yeah, that's almost a year ago now. They tried this back then. He was willing to give the Democrats DACA in exchange for the border wall funding. And what happened? They said, "No, oh hell no, we're not gonna do this. No." It just suddenly flipped. I mean, they were on board for a while, and then I think it was Elizabeth Warren finally comes out and says, "No, we don't need to use him as a bargaining chip. We don't need to use DACA as a bargaining chip." And suddenly everyone is on board with that and has stayed on board with that. Now they refuse to fund it even a little bit.
Yep.
Because keep in mind, the figure was something like, what, 13 or 16 billion overall? And now it's just 5 he's asking for.
Yeah.
$5 billion. That's... So now we got people crowdfunding it.
Yes. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I want to finish talking about the shutdown. So basically, what does a shutdown mean? Well, for better or worse, all non-essential personnel when it comes to the government will not be paid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, usually how this goes, and the definition of non-essential kind of goes all over the place. In some elements of the military, it's mentioned and also national memorials and parks. Parks couldn't care less. Memorials, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But again, we talked about this a bit last week, so I'll just touch on it before we move on to the next topic. Is the general way that this works is that the Democrats, of course, will refuse to pass bills in the House to fund certain parts of the government. Mm-hmm. You know, one of those being, of course, the national memorials. Last time it happened, a Republican senator went out there and had them open the park up, and so that veterans could come and pay their respects, and families and so on and so forth. And I have a feeling again that the Democrats will make the same mistake they made last time.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, they're already making the same mistakes. I mean, they're all in. They're not even trying to cut a deal at this point.
Yep.
The Republicans are trying to cut a deal, but the Democrats just will not budge on this wall funding.
Yep.
I mean, not a penny is what Nancy Pelosi has said.
Yep.
So we know that they're going to be useless. And Trump has said, yeah, I will own the shutdown.
And then he started saying that today on Twitter that the Democrats own the shutdown.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that was the move you should have made at the first point, dude.
Yeah. To be fair, yeah, that was dumb of him to say, because now, yeah, it's an immovable object versus whatever force.
Yeah.
Unstoppable force.
Yeah, force that smells like hemp and disappointed parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
so,
let's talk a bit about the wall, though.
Yeah, let's. It's not Patriot bricks, though.
Yeah, that's why I haven't put money into it.
Same with me.
Fucking Patriot bricks.
No, you need to do Patriot bricks. That's how you do it. And even then, like, I really don't trust a private citizen saying that, yeah, we'll raise the money, because as soon as you put a whole lot of money in the hands of somebody, I don't know if I'd trust that.
Yeah, neither would I.
No.
So
no, a disabled veteran did not beat us to it. We had the idea of Patriot bricks months ago.
Yeah.
We were saying this months before anybody else.
And mind you, a government policy to drive civilian funding, not a crowdfunding. There's a difference.
Yes.
There's a reason I compared it to war bonds.
Yes.
So when it comes right down to it, there is a desire for this wall to be built in America.
Yes. What was the figure they said? 15 million in 5 days?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. That's 3 million a day. And
that's not bad.
Like I said, I don't expect it's going to go anywhere. But what I will say is this, is that what do you do as a politician when you see that? Well, the Democrats, of course, are going to ignore it because it's what they do, is they bury their heads in the sand. On the right, what that tells me is what the constituency wants is security. That's what people are concerned about these days, is security. Mm-hmm. And it's not just illegal immigration. It's, or people coming from the southern border for a lot of people. It's just security in general. Mm-hmm. Is, even though we live in the safest time ever, it can still get better. And that's why I'm critical of Trump saying, I did more damage to ISIS than anybody. It's not done.
No.
You're not done yet. It's not good enough. You don't. if you're making a recipe, you follow all the instructions, including all of the bake time. If you bake chicken for a third of the time, or for 2/3 of the time you're supposed to bake it, somebody eats it and gets sick. Like, do you say, well, I did it more than the other guy who didn't do anything? You just still didn't finish. It's the same principle here. When it comes right down to it, there is a necessity for people to have the security that they want in their nation, so that their property, all of their rights, life, liberty, property, are protected by the government, which is what the government should be doing. And if we have to build a wall on the southern border to do it, then so be it. Alongside, slimming down the amount of people that are being immigrated, improving our vetting process, so on and so forth. Because when you see all of these horrible stories that have come out of the southern border, when you see all the terrible things that go on top of all the other nastiness that goes on around us, you ask yourself, what are you willing to do to keep John and Jane Q. Public safe? And if the answer is nothing, or something else, that there needs to be another something. Mm-hmm. When it comes right down to it, walls work. Unless you're the French and you just don't finish it, like the Maginot Line. Yeah. But in all seriousness, walls work. Who's our biggest ally in the Middle East is Israel. Big fucking wall. When it happened, when they put it up, the amount of suicide bombings in the area went to 0.
And it's like we said before, it's making South America and Central American nations take responsibility for what's going on finally, instead of just saying, all right, if y'all want to leave, just fuck off to America.
Yeah.
Fix your shit, because we're not gonna take it anymore.
Yeah, you touched on that a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Is the simple fact is that these nations are perfectly fine, these cartel-run nations, or complete socialistic paradises, quote-unquote, where you eat your dog instead of walking him. They're more than happy to shove their issues onto us because they know they can get away with it.
Well, not only that, but they get foreign aid, too.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of aid money from us. Like, let's be fucking real here.
Which Trump approved again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double dip. It's a double fucking dip. And what's happening? Their nations are not getting better. They're getting worse. I mean, we've got entire caravans now seeking asylum. That does not speak good for the state of those countries.
Yeah, it's asylum in quotations on top of that.
Yeah, well, yes, but still, the fact that there are so many that continue to leave. Yeah, I understand that the situation is bad, but that's not our problem to solve.
Exactly.
It's not. Like, there's a difference between being charitable and looking out for your neighbor and being taken advantage of. Yeah, and we're being taken advantage of.
Exactly. There's no onus on these nations to improve. Mm-hmm. And they don't seem to want to improve either.
No.
Because if they did, they'd do something about the cartels, and they don't. But this is where they stand.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, Ghost, you're right. Sometimes you do need a political revolution.
A political revolution?
And if all the people leave, that's not possible.
Yeah.
And I mean, like a legit when you are being fucked over by your government, yeah, you have the responsibility to get that fucking government out. But if everyone's gone, then nothing can be done.
Now, keep in mind, we don't mean the political revolution of someone like Bernie Sanders.
No, we do not mean the revolution of Medicare for all and pudding for me.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget my 3 houses. And keep the FBI away from my wife.
No, we do not mean that.
No. So when it comes right down to us, this is possibly Donald Trump's no new taxes. This is his read my lips.
Yeah.
This was his big promise. He's already lost Ann Coulter, his biggest supporter, who, mind you, wrote a book called In Trump We Trust. Yeah. And when you lose Coulter, you lost everything, to be honest.
How in the fuck do you lose Coulter?
She was his biggest cheerleader during the primaries. Oh, God. You can't have Ted Cruz. You can't trust him as much as you could Trump. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. She was the first big name that straight up said, Donald Trump has the best chance of winning the primary, and she got laughed at.
Oh yeah, legitimately laughed at.
Laughed at, yeah, literally laughed at. And damn, how the hell do you lose that?
It's incredible to me. It really is. She had the pom poms and everything. She was ready to go. Sis boom ba, build that wall.
Yep.
And here's the thing. Trump is not a bad president, nor are we saying that he is. Not. He certainly is not. What we are saying is that we want him to continue to keep his promises because that's the fucking job.
Yes.
We do not... I really honestly do not want a president who rests on their laurels. No. I don't want a government that rests on its laurels when the job is to rebuild from one of the worst presidents that this country's ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Stick to it.
Exactly.
Stick to your guns on this one.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our 2 quick hits for the week. Kind of rolling through topics today.
Seems like it.
So John Kasich is a coward, to say the least. But we knew that already. But what makes him a coward this week? Well, allow me to read from Paul Bois over at the Daily Wire. Demonstrating once again his penchant for moral cowardice, Paul does not give any fucks, apparently. Ohio Governor John Kasich vetoed a bill on Friday that would have banned abortions on unborn babies with detectable heartbeats. According to Life News, Governor Kasich vetoed the bill, arguing it would not survive in a court challenge. He did the same in 2016 for similar reasons. The difference between then and now, however, is the addition of Justice Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. The bill could theoretically survive if it went that far. Kasich also argued that the legal challenges would cost taxpayers too much money. Now, that second part is really stupid, because you have to keep in mind, this is something that Ohio citizens want, and they're pushing for. And you're telling them no because you're John Kasich and you get to tell people what to do. Fuck you. Fuck them!
Fuck them.
Obviously, abortion's a sensitive topic for me. For those who don't know, I am a post-Roe v. Wade adoption. Meaning that I could have ended up in a trash bin. And there are people out there that probably wish that I did. But thankfully, my birth mother made a good choice. I'm a little biased there, but she made the right choice in all seriousness. The choice of life. To let a life live. To let me be born. And then be adopted by a good family that raised a halfway decent guy. But this whole move by Kasich is based on a hypothetical. The idea that it could be struck down. There's no guarantee when it comes to this. Yeah, it could. It very well could. Hatman and I had this argument last night. It very well could. And you kind of wonder, as Hatman had told me, is that you wonder if we are going to need, for every single anything when it comes to abortion, to have to go in front of the Supreme Court at this point. Because Roe v. Wade, and what was the other one? It was Planned Parenthood versus Casey you cited to me?
Yes.
Neither of those touch the provision of when life is recognized as beginning by a state government, which is what made this bill as landmark as it did. Is because most states just don't recognize fetal life as living. Because if they did, then it would be considered murder to kill them. That's why, to the right, Kermit Gosnell is the worst serial killer in American history. To the left, he just killed a couple babies. No, he killed a lot of them. But it comes right down to it. This is not just about abortion, because he did this with a gun bill too.
Yes.
This is about a governor giving his state the finger because he doesn't have the sack to stand up for his constituents and give them what they asked for. He did not deny it on moral grounds. He did not deny it on anything along those lines or ethical grounds. He denied it because he's a coward. Because of a maybe. John, newsflash, asshole, maybe you could walk out of your front door in the morning to get the paper and get hit by a bus. Does that stop you from exiting the front door? Are you that much of a coward too? Is there this, when you take your shirt off, and God knows I don't want to see that shit, is there a long yellow streak down your back? Because you are a coward, sir. You are a goddamn coward, and I hope you don't win re-election. I don't even care if you lose to a Democrat. It'd be that basically you'd be moving horizontally instead of trading up. It's like, yeah, we would have to pay legal fees. Oh no! It's almost as if the people of Ohio are willing to fight for what they believe in. I hate this sort of shit. I really do. It sets a terrible precedent for politicians in the United States, first and foremost. And second, there is obviously, it seems to me that of all the states in the Union, Ohio is one of the most pro-life ones that you're going to find. And it's a nonpartisan issue. You got to keep in mind, that's a swing state. But it's not a partisan issue there. And in a lot of places in the country, it's not a partisan issue anymore. We have to keep in mind, before the primaries, there was a bit of a weird moment amongst Democrats where there's a surge of pro-life Democrats that were basically ignored by their own party when it came to primaries. We'd also talked about the right winning over suburban moms. Folks, this is the subject that pisses a lot of women off. My mom, my sisters, all four of them, my stepmom, my dad, well, not my dad, but almost every woman in my family is a single issue voter. Are you pro-abortion? If the answer is yes, they will not vote for you. Most of my sisters are moms. That to me is it's just fucking disgusting. Fuck John Kasich. Fuck him. Final topic of the day. Good news.
I like good news.
I like good news too. And as we have said here over the last month, is that we are dedicated to every week bringing you guys good news. So, let's set the stage here, real quick. So, Dan Crenshaw, now representative down in Texas, because Texas is awesome, was made fun of on Saturday Night Live by the silver-haired goofball that you see in front of you, whose name escapes me at the moment. Nick something or other. Gillespie, I think? I don't remember. But
Keith Davidson.
Oh, Keith Davidson, that's it. I'm sorry. So Keith here...
Pete,
sorry. They all look alike. But Pete here, in all seriousness, Pete here had posted something cryptic on Instagram that made it look like he was basically struggling with some mental health problems. Now keep in mind, Dan Crenshaw has been insulted by this man. And, it was not done in good humor, it was done in spite. Crenshaw took it like a champ, went on Saturday Night Live himself, made fun of himself, made fun of Pete, and they had a good laugh about it, and it was water under the bridge.
Yeah, they shook hands and it was over.
Yep. So when Pete Davidson is having these mental health problems, Dan Crenshaw goes out of his way to call him and try to encourage him to keep going. Reminding him that God has a plan for him and God has a purpose, God has a will. You know what that means. I'd show my tattoo off, but I don't feel like pulling my sleeve down. But in all seriousness, though, shares love with him, even when he's not obliged to, by most modern standards. I often talk about like what the spirit of an American is. And I think that this is a better example than I've seen in a long time. This is what a man with honor looks like. We could talk memes because he basically is big boss at this point.
He is the big boss that we both need and deserve.
Yes. But he's a strong Christian man. And he emphasized something that I think we've lost track of in a lot of ways. As a lot of people these days like to push for tribalism. They like to turn everything into a fucking tribe. They like to turn Christianity into a tribe. In which case, if that's your position, screw you. Because it's for everybody. They try to turn that into a tribe. They try to turn your political aisle into a tribe. They try to turn everything into a tribe.
That.
Yeah.
I'm bad about turning things into a tribe. I do it. I know I do.
I hate it. I freaking hate it more than anything. Because it kills thought. It encourages you to be dumb. I'm not a fan of that. But Dan Crenshaw says, love thy neighbor, follows the Lord, and does something that shows that we are not far gone. We are not so far away from that American spirit that we have had for a long time. It's just about making a decision. To be good, to be righteous, to be kind, to love thy neighbor. Who is my neighbor? Everyone. Everyone.
Pray for those who persecute you.
Because you never know when somebody comes around and realizes all the wrong things that they've done and they repent. And then they become something completely different. Transformed. Because I've seen it happen. It's happened with me. It's happened with a lot of people. All right. Let's go ahead and move into the Q&A.
Let's go to the Q&A.
So, Hatman, do me a favor and check ye old Twitter.
Checking ye old Twitter.
And I will see if we got anything on the Discord server. And then for those of you in the YouTube chat, please go ahead and start submitting your questions. And we will do our best to answer them for you. All right, here we go. Holy Ninjato asks from the patrons Discord, for the political podcast, is there a way we can help the Christian baker who can't catch a break from the lawsuits? I am not really sure as of right now.
I don't know either.
I would just say keep him in your prayers. Hopefully something presents itself. When it does, let me know, and I will try to signal boost it as best I can.
Yeah.
Talon Silverbane wants to know, for the political podcast, any more word on this whole thing about gun stocks being banned, or is that just fake news? No, it is an ATF policy.
Yeah, it's bump stocks specifically.
Yes, and the Trump administration is doing jack shit about that policy right now. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump only has to say one word to get rid of it, and he's not.
Yeah. From the Twitter, Duke of Tumwater, thoughts on hemp and CBD being legalized?
Perfectly fine with it.
Yeah,
CBD oil is great for inflammation.
Yeah, I have absolutely no problem with it at all. Shouldn't have been criminalized in the first place.
Yep.
And the rest of the Twitter stuff is for entertainment overflow. So
cool.
Go to the chat.
Yes, let's have a look at what we got here. Follow up on my from Koopa. Follow up on my Reza Pahlavi question. He's the crown prince of the Shah who spent most of his adult life in America. Oh, okay.
Okay.
then yeah, if he did that, it would certainly troll the Iranians for sure.
Yes.
That
Yes.
would be insane if he actually decided to do that.
Yes. The rightful king.
Yeah, that would it wouldn't surprise, like if he did it, I would do it the next time there's an Iranian uprising of citizens who are protesting the government. I would just come out and say it. It's like the United States recognizes, and then all of a sudden everybody's going to go crazy. One thing I would do though, get Netanyahu on board with it.
Yeah,
And then
really.
get the Saudis on board with it. If you can get all of our major allies in the area on board with it, then do it. Otherwise, it's not really worthwhile. Let's see here. What do we think about the spreading of the Yellow Vest movement and why American news isn't covering it? Well, we know why the left is not covering it. Because it's contrary to the narrative.
Yeah.
But again, we mentioned this last week, so I'll just briefly say it. We want the French people to embrace liberty.
Yeah. Yeah, and for God's sake, don't overthrow the government now and install a dictator, because that's how the last time you had a revolution, you got Napoleon. Yeah, no, isn't it
and
funny
Napoleon is only fun in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Let's be honest.
Isn't it funny how the French go all fucking in on revolution, but when it comes to war, they're just
terrible at it.
Oh my God. It's not a French war unless it's a civil war. Apparently.
Yeah, apparently the only people the French can beat are themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But
God damn, you lose a 7 years war. You don't want to do anything else ever again.
I guess. All right. Who should Trump pick for new Secretary of Defense? Personally, I'd go with Colonel Allen West. Colonel West would be a good decision. The problem is that West probably agrees with Mattis.
Yeah, like most military leadership does. So
yeah, like that.
I have no idea who he's going to get on that agrees with him.
Yeah, we can't emphasize how bad of a move that was. Seriously, we can't. It was a terrible move. So, but yeah, Audis Whisper basically had the same question. Let's see here. What are your thoughts about how Christmas is called a pagan holiday by atheists? Yule is the pagan part.
Yes.
Like, shut the fuck up.
The history of it, does go to basically Christmas was invented to get pagans to come to church. It's supposed to be a general celebration of the birth of Christ.
Yes.
Because of it. So if you want to go to the origins, then yes, but Christmas, like the actual celebration, we recognize that it's not actually Jesus's date of birth.
Nobody does.
That. No, we're that's stupid, but we still recognize it anyway.
Yes.
I've always wondered why Easter wasn't like a much bigger holiday. You'd think that'd be the most important one.
Yeah, you'd figure, but I guess not.
I don't know. I guess people like their winter solstice holidays.
I guess.
I don't know.
Thoughts about people wanting Santa to be gender neutral? Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Seriously.
Yeah. I'm not even going to entertain that with a lengthy response.
Let's see here. If we could get one fictional government to replace all of the ones of the world, what would it be? I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a government in fiction that actually works. Because there's humans. Maybe the
Galactic Empire.
Fuck it.
Fuck it, Galactic Empire.
If nothing else, we can learn to use the Force. Give us something to do.
Do the one from Star Wars Infinities and have the Death Star called the Justice Star.
Oh God. No, I'd build my own Death Star shaped like a bald eagle.
Terran Federation. Yeah, well, there you go. Imperium and man. Okay, quit it now.
Ugh. Anyway, did anything surpass being called a leftist this week in last?
What in the fuck was that?
That was John Delarose called me a leftist. He's been on this fucking podcast.
How in the fuck?
Dude, I knew the instant that I said something about him constantly lying about comic book fans. that he would say something borderline idiotic and people would call him out on it. I didn't have to say much.
No.
And all like, because the thing is like, I had one day where I talked about him. I did a vlog, and that was largely it. And he went on, like, tweeted at me behind a block like a fucking this angry ex-girlfriend, and then started lobbying accusations towards me. And then lo and behold, my Twitter followers started creeping up again. Because people were like, wait a minute, no, Micah's not a leftist. Micah doesn't do this. Micah doesn't do that. Blah, 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 blah. You know, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's like, even like Yellow Flash started following you again.
Yeah, and so did Umbrella Guy. And I'm like, cool. Mm-hmm. But that's just generally the thing, and why I tell people to try to live a principled life. Mm-hmm. Is that when someone comes after you and they say crazy shit, people recognize it for what it is. Insanity.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, John's never appearing on the podcast ever again.
Needless to say, damn shame.
He seems like such a nice guy, too.
Yeah, really.
He just went crazy.
He was up until this point.
It was the whole Vox Day getting rejected by Comicsgate thing. Just drove him off the edge.
I guess
Fuck him. Whatever. He needs to get his shit together.
Yeah, damn shame. Don't die on Vox Day's hill.
Yeah, that's of all the hills to die on. That is the worst one. Be friends with whoever you want. You know, nobody cares. Literally, no one cares. But when you make it a point of contention between you and other people, nobody's gonna like you. You know. All right, what else we got here?
Let's see. The Sargon Patreon thing. Do we want to save that for entertainment? Because
we've already talked about it. I mean, it seems like they just continue to try to find excuses for banning him because nobody's buying it.
Yeah, and now they brought up the whole VidCon Anita Sarkeesian thing, which they're literally on record with the thing they cited as saying, yeah, this didn't violate the rules.
Exactly.
They're retroactively applying the rules that, like, way to go. I've already cut my Patreon account. Like I straight up said I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I refuse to. I will say as of right now, the channel is not, because there's no other viability that really seems that anybody would really latch onto.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this more.
Yeah, we have things to discuss about that, what we're doing with the next year, because as many of you have noticed, it's basically just been up for people who want to support the channel. Not necessarily, like, because Comics Crusade is done. There's nothing really I can do with it anymore. And I just don't have the time for it. And but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Subscribe Star options and stuff like that and things along those lines. So
all right, so back to it. Artist Whisperer wants to know thoughts on the controversy of Jeremy Corbyn calling Theresa May a stupid woman. I never thought I'd agree with Jeremy Corbyn on something.
Well, fuck them both, honestly.
Yeah, fuck them both, yeah, but what in the fuck is Theresa May doing? I'm surprised that she survived the confidence vote, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so am I. But when it comes right down to it, he's hanged by his own standards. As Koopa's Revenge says in the chat there. Like, he really has been.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked about this with the asshole when it came to DC Comics. Is like, these are your standards. You will forever be judged by them. You know, welcome to life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Peterson and Dave Rubin are starting a new alternative to Patreon. Y'all should look into it. It's not started yet.
No, it's not. It's not out yet, but we're paying attention,
to say the least. We'll see. We're paying attention to see what PayPal does.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Somebody get Peter Thiel in the fucking line.
I know, right?
Like, come the hell on, man. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, just get them in here. Somebody get them to fix this shit.
Yes.
Wasn't Elon Musk like one of the founders, if not the founder of Patreon? Not Patreon, PayPal?
It was Thiel that was.
Oh, it was Thiel, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come the fuck on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there anything else? Honest Whisper had another thoughts on an Antifa leader getting ousted. What?
Oh yeah, there was one who was arrested for assaulting former Marines. So
Fuck him.
fuck them.
Fuck them.
God damn, I love Rambo. Even the bad movies, I love them. Which is really just 3, but 3 was not very good. 2 was okay.
Wait. Okay, who's Black Knight Rex? You want the UNSC to be your one world government for a fictional government? I got some bad news for you, and it's 3 letters. Oni.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
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 Before the war with the Sangeli, they were tyrannical.
Oh no! Even afterwards, like Oni straight up wanted to assassinate the Arbiter.
Yeah, like they're
no.
they're pretty fucking evil.
Yeah. No.
They're not quite as bad as the Coalition in Gears of War, but they're up there.
Oh yeah.
Like they're not nice people.
Oh, he was already told that. Okay, never mind.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Well, we will answer your other question as an apology. Thoughts on the satirical article on the problematic themes of Rudolph that was then blown up by actual news sites?
That was amazing.
Hose law. Hose motherfucking law.
Oh yes, I love it. I fucking
man.
love it, man.
Hose fucking law. Is that it? Is that really?
Yeah,
also,
not really.
fuck Karen Travis. Yeah.
Not really a lot of questions today. Could we have an exterminatus on everyone that got the fuck 'em button? But they've already been fuck 'em'd.
Yeah, they've already been fuck 'em'd.
We're kind of now saving exterminatus for very, very, very special occasions.
Yeah. Exterminatus has got to be special now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention it just like it's like a 2-minute video or something like that.
Yeah, so which means it has to be special, like very, very special.
Yeah. What about the Pokemon government? Do I get a Blastoise?
Wait a minute. That means Medicare for all.
Fuck that. Pay for your own goddamn services.
Pokemon Bernie Sanders. It doesn't make sense that Pokemon centers will heal your Pokemon for free, but you have to pay for potions and super potions.
I would start a Blastoise revolution. I would start a Blastoise revolution. I would raise an army of them.
An army of Blastoise.
And I would ride one that's mega evolved onto the capital of whatever the place is and overthrow the government.
Wait a minute, is there even really like a government of Pokemon?
I don't even know. I don't even care, but I'm going to fucking overthrow it with an army of Blastoise. Cuz fuck 'em.
See, I'm half wondering if like the Elite Four stands in for the government. But if that's the case, like when you become champion, it's like, yeah, a 10-year-old is now the head of the fucking government
with his Blastoise.
Yes, Blastoise Master Race.
Exactly.
Yes.
Throw a Dragonite in there for good measure. Because Dragonites are awesome too. I love Dragonites. Dragonites and Blastoise, that's all I need.
Everyone gets a free Nurse Joy. I don't know. Do we get a free Officer Jenny too? Or is that asking too much?
Nah, I can barely deal with one woman, let alone 2.
Well, maybe we get our choice.
Anyway, we have reached our hour mark, folks. So if you have questions, please don't go ahead don't forget to tag Brainbox Boy in the chat. And yeah, anyway, don't stick around. We are going to be doing the entertainment podcast. We'll be discussing about our picks of the week. We'll be talking about Hatman talking about Into the Spider-Verse. I'll be talking about Tekken 7 Season 2. I haven't really talked fighting games that much, so this is going to be really interesting. Plus, We also have special announcements for the channel and the future of our Patreon and donation stuff. I noticed that nobody's donated yet today, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
We do also owe reviews. I have to do some dank horse watching this week. I might do that.
Some dank horse watching with you.
Yeah, I might see if I can just do that do it tonight while I'm cooking, because I got Christmas cooking to do, and I've only got one gift to buy. Everybody else has told me not to buy them shit. So
that's what I said.
I have one gift for Office Secret Santa, and that's it. I worked a ton of overtime to do it. Now I get to keep the money. So whatever.
I mean, that's what I do. People tell me I'm so hard to shop for, and I'm like, I literally ask for nothing from all of y'all. It's your own fault.
Exactly. So, all right, folks. We appreciate you sticking around, though. Again, don't go anywhere. We'll be back here in a bit with the Entertainment Podcast. But until then, my name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as The Hatman.
We'll see you guys very soon. Deus Volt.
Deus Volt.